You wouldn't happen to have a resume, would you?
I do have, but it's in Ukrainian language.
Yeah, I need to brush up on my Ukrainian. Don't speak it a lot.
Yeah, you have to excuse me because it's my first ever interview in America. So
Okay.
I will fix this detail and I will send you an email, my CV.
Okay. I'd met Natalie once, and it was a very awkward meeting. Hey!
Yeah.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Ukraine.
Ukraine. Okay, so little far away.
Yeah, I know.
When Josh called me about this interview, I was a little taken back, a little surprised that they're still doing their thing together, but must be working. Apparently, she lives in LA and needs a job, and I'm hiring. So what experience do you have in terms of customer service?
Yeah, I used to work in a bookstore, so I have experience selling books.
Okay. But what about customer service? Answering phones?
Answering phones, mails,
what
cooperating.
What job would that have been?
Wait a second. I don't know, it's complicated.
The moment Natalie blurted out that her resume is in Ukrainian, I couldn't help but burst out into cackles of laughter. Here I am, tirelessly scouring the job market, and it's as barren as a reality TV story. Yet, she strolls into an interview, her resume not even in the local lingo, fully expecting the red carpet to be rolled out for the royal job coronation ceremony of Her Highness. The audacity? She's got the English skills, but translating her resume? Nah, that's apparently for mere mortals like you and I. Speaking of sky-high entitlement, she's aiming for the stars while sitting on a couch. Someone familiar with the heart of Russian-Ukrainian region, belonging to Natalie's age group, decided it was prime time to dish out a summary of Natalie's archetype, painting a picture that goes something like this. Back in their homeland, these ladies often found themselves in less than glamorous dwellings, reminiscent of the shabby flat where David went on a wild goose chase for Lana. Their days were filled with berating their spouses over a meager paycheck or one too many drinks. Their woes echoed through the walls, lamenting over a less than heroic husband, feeling the sting of their kids' indifference, or envying acquaintances living it up abroad. They often ended up with partners who could barely endure their drama, only to be betrayed by the first daredevil willing to stick around. Picture this: a hubby, a bizarre blend of Andre and Charlie, aging like a fine wine with a touch of rogue, missing a tooth or sporting a flashy gold one, all while rocking the quintessential Adidas tracksuit. And yet, in America, the land of the free, these exotic creatures are a novel spectacle. For a fella as unrefined and straightforward as Mike, she was the epitome of foreign allure. Just the right blend of wild and whimsical to promised adventurous escapades, especially behind closed doors. And let's not skirt around the fact her blonde locks and generous curves certainly didn't dim her appeal back in the days. Shifting gears from this vivid portrayal of Natalie's persona, let's circle back to our heart of the matter. Stateside dames and damsels typically evolve past such antics by the time they hit Natalie's age. Come their mid-30s, life has usually dished out a reality check so fierce, it's like a wake-up slap in the face. Absolutely, that mid-30s reality check is no myth. It's as real as it gets. Natalie, though, seems to be blissfully skipping through life with her Cinderella complex intact, if not burrowing even further into her starring role delusions. Meanwhile, Josh is seizing this moment in the spotlight, snagging some fame and fringe benefits on the house. It's a well-known fact. Guys like Mike have a thing for the wild ones. There's that old chestnut. A whirlwind mind leads to a whirlwind time, paired with its notorious relative. Steer clear of the storm if you want to stay warm. She'd fit right in a zombie flick, slinking through graveyards under the moon's eerie glow. Just imagine her sporting that signature style, stark black eyeliner and tousled locks. Those wild eyes of hers, a dash of grunge-toned makeup, and she's a shoe-in for that undead. Best part, zombies are the strong, silent type. No lines to flub or accents to decipher. I really gave it a shot trying to warm up to Natalie, but ever since the single life hit the screens, it's obvious she's living in a fantasy far from our reality. Josh's fascination with her strikes me as about as genuine as a $3 bill. And while he's not hard on the eyes, it's his crafted casualness that's surely anything but spontaneous that's reeling Natalie in. She's all over him, and the moment they part ways, she flips out big time. It's like she's under the spell, believing she's the belle of the ball, utterly baffled by the mere thought of rejection. Deep down, though, her confidence seems as shaky as a house on cards. On the show, Josh seems to be just enduring her antics, playing his cards right for some bedroom action, and it's paying off. And let's not forget, he's an LA native. He's watched this drama unfold more times than he can count. If you're in Josh's crew, aligning with this lady would be a one-way ticket to Crazy Town. Natalie is teetering on the edge, fixated on the identity of Josh's baby mama, like it's her full-time gig. And if Josh and Natalie were as thick as thieves as he paints it to be, wouldn't he spill the beans already? He ought to be quaking in his boots. Frankly, Natalie's got Bride of Frankenstein written all over her. She'd nail that role without even trying. Josh is good. Josh is doing his best impression of an LA cool cat, but deep down he's more of a geek at heart. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you can tell by the company he keeps. Picture this. His paws would blend right in at a Midwest pub on trivia night. For a guy claiming to be a modeling agent, his crew looks more like they're gearing up for a PTA meeting than strutting down Sunset Boulevard. And about those friends of his, they seem more like extras from central casting than genuine buddies. It's hard to imagine his real pals signing up for the show. They're as different from him as night and day. Natalie's rendezvous with them was a spectacle to behold. She breezed through the whole affair without even a hint of curiosity about them, completely bypassing the chit-chat part. True to form, her exchanges were a one-woman show, all about Natalie herself. And Natalie, ever the spotlight seeker, nearly swooned with excitement when he rolled up in that car. Honestly, you'd think she was in the throes of teenage infatuation, not a grown woman. I've got a hunch about that Tesla Josh was rocking. It screamed rental. Immaculate as a showroom display, it hardly had the live-in look of a daily ride, detail job or not. And touching on cultural nuances, there's a marked contrast in gallantry. Having immersed myself in both Eastern European and Latin cultures, I've noticed that their gentlemen often go the extra mile, a stark difference from the laid-back demeanor of American men. Stateside is more of a pal vibe, whereas overseas, the blend of equality and chivalry tends to make a lady feel extra special. Personally, I'm on the fence. Each approach has its charm. You don't need a passport to grasp her type. We've got similar characters stateside, reading over trailer parks with their fluffy pink steering wheel covers, still playing the high school queen bee. They strut around like trust fund babies minus the trust fund, baffled why the wealthy aren't lining up to foot their bills. And yes, they often find their match in guys like Mike. Weren't they shacking up in a mobile home? The accent might dazzle folks for a spell, lending her an air of exotic mystery. Sure, she's easy on the eyes, and that buys her extra tolerance. She might not be the knockout she imagines, but there's no denying her captivating allure. The moment he showed up in that ride, she was all in, faster than you can say 0 to 60. Talk about a plot twist. Here she was, all about virtues and visions of baby carriages, and then whoosh! A swanky set of wheels sends her principles into a tailspin. For a lady who fancies herself a brainy deity, her actions sure took a detour into the land of what were you thinking territory. My jaw hit the floor when she nonchalantly dropped the I slept with Josh bomb. This after painting intimacy as some sacred rite? So, did Mr. Man pledge his devotion? Not even close. She's just mesmerized by the illusion he's spinning. By tossing her own principles out the window, she practically RSVP'd to her own heartbreak. If she's genuinely into this guy, she should be digging into the nitty-gritty of his world, his kids, pet peeves, values, relationship goals. You name it. But nope, not a single probing question from her side. It's all about her wish list. She's driving me up the wall. Hard to fathom she's nudging 40. She's wading knee-deep in her own fantasy of magnificence. And her crown jewel? Supposedly her looks. That's her whole spiel. She's on this pedestal, convinced she's the bee's knees. It's quite the spectacle. Then there's the mystery of her vanishing teetotaler vows. Tossing back a few gives her the perfect scapegoat for her slip-ups. It's always the drink's fault, never hers. This is a classic case of a personality quirk. Those who bank on their allure to breeze through life might just be tiptoeing around histrionic personality territory. And when her charm offensive misses the mark, she's left reeling. She's got to level up because beauty's clock is always ticking, and time waits for no one. Time marches on, and with it, beauty inevitably wanes. The ride's especially bumpy for stunners like her. Her allure has been her trusty sidekick, but that partnership's got an expiry date. Nudging 40 and still in the modeling game, she's playing a high-stakes round against the clock. Sure, a little cosmetic wizardry can hold the fort against the ravages of time, but even those magic potions have their limits. Just look at Darcy from 90 Day Fiancé. It's a tough pill to swallow, realizing she pegs her worth on her looks and charm alone. But instead of hitting the books, upskilling, or soul-searching through therapy post-divorce to unpack her share of the baggage, she's stuck in a loop. She's got to dig deep, do the heavy lifting, and break the cycle to dodge the same old relationship potholes. In their glossy promo shot, Mike and Natalie were the picture of youthful zest and vigor. Fast forward to today, and the scripts flipped. Mike sporting a somber, added padding vibe, while Natalie's intense eyeliner game is more Fright Night than right. Someone needs to stage a makeup intervention pronto, a guru to guide her through a makeup routine that's chic yet simple, something she can master solo. And if she could just embrace her curls instead of going to town with that brush, she'd be turning heads for all the right reasons. That eyeliner's a real doozy, so stark it practically hijacks your gaze. It's like her face is throwing an eyeliner-only party. And diving into the Natalie saga, it's clear she's navigating some hefty emotional and psychological mazes. This whole fairy tale fantasy she's got, banking on a happily ever after and a family blueprint just a couple of dates in, yells reality check needed. She's in her own equestrian bubble, a true American horse girl, practically galloping on a different astral plane. For a minute there, I was convinced the showrunners would pull a fast one, bringing in a majestic steed, maybe having Mike surprise her with a four-legged wedding gift right there on his homestead. Mike's appetite for overseas eccentricities seems to have hit its limit. He was lukewarm about her arrival from the get-go, even hinting at a ticket back for her. Whenever her bit rolls around, I quip to my other half, "Behold, Carrie Bradshaw's doppelganger. She's a spitting image, over-the-top dramatic, a bundle of nerves, high-strung, and lugging around a colossal princess vibe. It's crystal clear she's the star of her own mental blockbuster, and if anything, the camera crew's presence has only cramped up her diva dial, not dialed it down. A buddy of mine calls LA home, and they'd bet the farm that Tesla was a rental. Tour Hollywood and you'll see luxury car rental joints lined up like stars on the Walk of Fame, flashy rides for hire by the day, and talk about life imitating art. My mom's cut from the same cloth, 69 years young, and still keeps me on my toes, bless her soul. It seems each nation brews its own unique brand of this persona, each with a distinct local twist that might get lost in translation. An American can sniff out the homegrown variety in a heartbeat, yet some of the less open-minded folks, like a handful you'd find on 90 Day, reckon American girls are a tough nut to crack. They gaze across the pond and see these foreign enigmas not as complex individuals, but as simpler puzzles they can effortlessly piece together. I've got this American Natalie doppelganger in my circle. The moment she got wind of the upscale block my husband and I call home, she hatched this master plan to drop by. Her reason? A verbatim quote. "That's where all the wealthy gents and finance whizzes hang out." An invite was never on the table, yet I had to craft a quick exit strategy from her impromptu mansion-hopping mission, especially after her unabashed scheme to snag a loaded hubby for a leisurely life of domestic bliss gave me the heebie-jeebies. In any spot on the globe where a lady's value is measured by the man she's tied to, and let's be real, that's a broad map, this narrative unfolds. Toss in a sprinkle of childhood upheaval, and you've got the perfect recipe for these characters to emerge. Switching gears to the rumor mill, whispers are that Josh has dipped his toes in the adult film pool. He's got a flair for collecting imitation timepieces and flaunting rented luxury rides as if they're parked in his own garage. Seems he's also got a hobby of leading this intense lady on a merry dance just to keep his face and those tribal tattoos in our living rooms. Cyberspace buzz suggests that Josh's model management venture might just be a high-stakes hustle with a trail of duped clients left high and dry. I took a cyber stroll through their online days, and lo and behold, the team roster is as packed as a rush hour subway. I'm betting his screen time cravings are all about casting a wider net. He's playing the long game, banking on starry-eyed hopefuls, stumbling upon his gig and buying into the dream he's peddling. His fascination with Natalie seems as genuine as a $3 bill, and it wouldn't be a shocker if he was just TLC's latest recruit. A level-headed gent wouldn't queue up for a second round with Natalie, not by a long shot. He's likely spinning the age-old modeling portfolio con. You know the drill. We'll snap some top-notch pics, craft your very own portfolio, and voila, modeling gigs will rain down. Just a small one-off fee of $500 and you're all set. Classic bait and switch. Back in my hometown, this was a daily spectacle. They'd prowl around town hunting for model material, only to pull the same old stunt. Diving deeper into the digital grapevine, there's chatter about Josh moonlighting as an OnlyFans agent. Not your textbook agent, though. Instead, we're talking about a certain breed of slick operators who eyed the cash flow in OnlyFans and thought, time to get a piece of that pie. They set up these agencies to manage the ladies' profiles, pocketing a hefty 20 to 50% of the earnings for supposedly tackling the backstage grunt work, like masquerading as the girl in question to banter with fans. It's a shady, distasteful hustle. So if the whispers hold any weight, Josh might just be the digital era's answer to a pimp. Picture this. Any Joe or Jane can kickstart an OnlyFans hustle, but it's the wheeler dealers like him who breeze in, rig up a lens, and rake in a slice of the pie. If there's an ounce of truth to this, then Natalie and Josh are quite the matched set. Josh could certainly toss Natalie a gig where her resume wouldn't even make the guest list. Just a wink and a nod. And about that swanky pad and wheels, wouldn't surprise me one bit if TLC's footing the bill. It could all be part of the show's grand script. It all starting to click now. How on earth did she score such fancy table settings right after settling in? Those pieces weren't bargain bin finds, that's for sure. I can totally picture TLC shelling out for Natalie's glam setup. Seems like they're casting their net for more drama queens with outsized main character syndrome from around the globe, luring them into bait some unsuspecting stateside singleton online, then scooting them onto the 90-Day Fiancé stage. It's like a drama factory, churning out endless soap opera gold on a shoestring budget. The twist that Josh, a dad of two, sees a beacon of stability in someone as tempestuous as Natalie doesn't just scream scripted. It paints him as a family fiend, hungry for the spotlight. Before his TV debut, he was just another face in the crowd. Now, thanks to TLC, he's on the radar. This notoriety, as uncomfortable as it is, might just be his golden ticket to roping in the unsuspecting for his iffy schemes, assuming the scam artist rumors hold water. Is Natalie's mom wise to his act? Maybe that's why she keeps circling back to Mike, sensing he had a real soft spot for her. But the vibe I'm getting suggests it's less about heartfelt connections and more about who's footing the bill for their cushy lifestyle. Mom's got a bit of that surface level flair, just like Natalie. I mean, who lands in the States given her backstory and turns up her nose at her new digs for not being up to the mark? Libby or Elizabeth from 90 Day Fiancé? She hinted at a collaboration with Josh on Pillow Talk and dropped a hint or two about his lady killer reputation. Josh and Natalie. Natalie. It's like watching a dad with his rebellious teen. Not exactly your textbook romance. More of a bizarre, undefined situationship than a relationship. The burning mystery here is why TLC keeps serving us this Josh and Natalie saga, season after season. It's like a broken record. Nothing's evolving, and it's plain as day he's just not that into her. We're stuck on repeat with her dishing out the same old tirades. Honestly, at this juncture, I'd find more entertainment in Michael's dating escapades. My hunch, she's reality TV gold, a tad erratic and wildly unpredictable, which is precisely why she's struggling in the love department. I'm betting TLC's cutting Josh a handsome check and shining the spotlight on his venture, all to keep this roller coaster with her chugging along for our viewing pleasure. And those teasers with Mike FaceTiming the mom smacks of a last-ditch effort to keep her in the narrative, stirring the pot with the only two gents who've stuck it out these past seasons. Honestly, this season's been a bit of a snooze fest. The Chantal segment? Can't even. But I do catch myself beelining for Natalie's segments. She's a wild card, and you just can't guess her next move. Libby dished some dirt on Pillow Talk, painting him as a real Casanova with commitment issues. I'm inclined to take Libby's word for it. Now here's the kicker. Natalie's on his case for a house, wheels, cash, you name it, all while playing the I'm in your country, I need security card. But here's the catch, lady. He's not your betrothed, so there's zero obligation on his part. Plus, the guy's got to grind to bankroll this wish list of hers, yet she throws a fit when he's off to earn his keep. Talk about a catch-22. Elizabeth, yeah, that's Libby from Libby and Andre from 90 Day Fiancé fame, shared that having worked with Josh, she usually steered clear of his Standel's romantic web. I was pretty convinced Josh had made his final bow after that jaw-dropping tell-all or bears-all episode or whatever that was. Remember? Natalie perched on Mike's lap, playing the Am I over him card right in front of Josh. So yeah, something's definitely fishy in the air. That's all from me today, everyone. Talk to you another time on another video. Peace out.